we go. All right, guys, so we're going to start off our sectioning going down the parietal ridge, back past mid-crown, and then down parietal ridge to kind of section off a nice rectangle shape on the top of the head. Now, I want to really break down my thought process on my sectioning because a lot of people have been asking questions about it. I feel like my sectioning is very standard, but I want to share with you guys the why behind why I section the hair the way that I do. So what I do is I look at every corner of the head and I section that away as a different panel. So the top section, parietal ridge, I look at it as a corner. Mid-crown, I look at as a corner. So that makes up that top section of the head. And then I look at the division point of the head, the front and the back, and I section that off, which gives me this little temple area section. Then I go down center back like you can see there. I comb everything over, and then if you think about it, what would be my next corner would be the occipital bone where the head starts to kind of curve up and away and then down and under towards the nape. So I'll section away these two panels, occipital bone up to crown, and then occipital bone down to nape is my other section. So what that's going to do for me is really just separate each corner. So as I work my elevation up the head and I'm working the shape of the haircut, I can focus on each corner and how it's going to shift and how that elevation is going to change. So now I'm going to start 0-degree elevation. Now I'm doing this with comb tension. The reason I use my comb at first is to really just hold the hair in place. Then I go through, and if I don't love the line that it's created, then I go through and freehand and cut a little bit more of the line. But I use the comb to start the guideline and then decide from there if I want to continue and cut more. Now I slightly elevate the hair. We're going to start our elevation right in the occipital bone area. So I'm working through slight bit of elevation, half-inch section, and just adding a little bit of a bevel to the edge of that, the bottom nape area of the haircut. So now I'm going to work horizontal sectioning throughout the rest of the haircut. I really wanted to focus on horizontal sectioning because this is a great exercise for your brain to work an entire haircut in one way and then go back and do a haircut the complete opposite way. I think you should know both ways of cutting. So I didn't want to do a combination cut of vertical and horizontal. I wanted to just do the entire cut horizontal so you could really focus on elevation. This is cutting horizontally is harder for weight control. A lot of people think that this would be a heavier way of cutting. It's not necessarily a heavier way of cutting. The reason it ends up being heavier is because a lot of people drop their elbow and drop their hand down because it's not as comfortable. So just going through, working your mind and practicing, focusing on your elevation throughout the entire cut is key in this. So I'm working through, the horizontal line is following parallel to my chest. I'm standing straight in the back of the head and working that line straight across, so it will build up a little bit of weight towards the corner. So it's you could call it a square back. I like to call it an even back because the entire thing is even throughout the section. So working those horizontal sections, you can see my elevation there, and you can see the thickness of each parting that I'm taking is only about 1/2 inch. That's really important when you're working horizontally, not to take too much hair. A lot of people want to take a ton of hair to get a haircut done faster, but what they're going to do, if I grabbed too much hair at once, that's why I'm going to get that heavy top layer, because I would be pulling the hair all the way from the top crown area down, and then that elevation would be super low. What I'm going to do throughout this haircut is each section I'm elevating a little bit more. So as I elevate it a little bit more, it's making the line and the graduation lighter throughout the cut. So now we're going to start working in the temple area. I'm going to take, again, pretty much 1/2 inch. We're going to start off, this is an inch wide section. Working that baseline, I want to follow right along the chin. So I'm just taking horizontal sections, slightly elevating it at this point. So the first section is straight down with little tension in my fingers, and then all the sections after that are slightly elevated to just lighten up the section, add a little bit of length towards the chin because I want it to follow the jawline and then tuck around the chin. We're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So a little bit of tension in my fingers, work that line, connect it to the back. Keep working horizontally, start to elevate the hair slightly. And when you elevate the hair, you're over directing the very front part. So right at the hairline, that's being over directed because the head starts to move away. So that's why you get that little bit of longer piece right around the chin. All right, so as I work my fingers through there, you can see that shape kind of coming to life. It's looking pretty cool. So now I'm going to take a right-hand side parting, comb all the hair down exactly the way that it's going to live as best as I can when it's wet. Obviously, once we blow it dry, we'll really see how it's going to live in the haircut. And just combing, elevating it nice and high. We'll keep it at pretty much a 45-degree angle throughout the entire thing. So you can see right on the side of the head as well. Nice high elevation. That's going to keep from it being too heavy around the chin line. I like to take a little bit of weight out of there because then when I go through and do my detailed lines at the end, I'm not cutting through so much hair. It's not so stacked up. So working that 45-degree angle as I work more on the top of the head on this side, because the head shape is shifting away, you got to realize that right now I'm pretty much holding this hair at a 0-degree angle on the top. I know that sounds confusing, but that's the way that I think about it, because straight up from the top of the head to me is 90 degrees. So this coming straight out from the head when you're working on the top of the head is more like 0, so it's going to be very heavy. So now we're going to go through, we're going to blow dry the hair really quick, doing a flat wrap blow dry to connect the hair to the head shape. And that's going to help us work the hair dry. Now we're going to go through with our VibraStraight iron as well, iron the hair out and get it ready for dry cutting. All right, so as we move into the dry cutting portion, a question I get asked all the time is, what is my favorite scissor for wet cutting and dry cutting? The Mizutani DB20 scissor is my go-to scissor. I use it at a 5.7 inch length. It's nano powder metal. It's a very soft metal. It grips the hair like no other scissor out there. And you can't get another scissor from any other company made of nano powder metal. So this is definitely my key scissor for every haircut that I do. So if you're looking for a new scissor, definitely check out freesaloneducation.com because I got a great deal right now on all Mizutani scissors on the website. So go check it out. So I'm going through, adding in the details, doing point cutting. So I'm point cutting the edges throughout this because I really want to soften the entire top of the haircut and really clean up all those little hairs that are hanging over. The reason they're hanging over is because I did the haircut wet and it wasn't exactly how she's going to wear it. So now I just go through, clean it up, and we're good to go. Now, this is the most important part of the haircut. This is something I'll spend a lot of time on. It's detailing the outer perimeter of the cut using the tip of the scissor. This is why I like to have a little bit shorter scissor because the tip is a lot stronger. And just go through and working that line. And what I wanted to do is add my own personal touch to this haircut. So I like that kind of buildup of weight behind the ear. So I wanted to create that nice little curve area and then follow that along the jawbone and then tuck it around the chin with a little bit of extra length. So go through and I build that line in with the scissor. This is what's going to make your haircut stand out from everybody else in your town. So just these little details are what separate a good hairdresser from a great one. All right, so we're just finishing it up. I'm still adding in. I comb the hair down. I want to see how it's falling. Once I start combing the hair and that line stays solid in there, I know that I have it where I want it, and my guest will be able to blow dry their hair and have that same line. So just going in, finishing it up. Now, one thing I want to tell you guys, please keep posting in the comments below. I love seeing your comments. I love seeing your feedback. And I read every single one of them. So whether it's on Facebook or YouTube, post away. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you liked it.